さの意味を忘れない無駄にしないように今を駆け抜けろ
Good morning, everyone. There it is. Good morning. Yes, good morning, cat. I said good morning, and my cat decided I was talking to her. It's not a great day, if you live in, Minneapolis or, wherever. But, yeah, it could be worse, I guess. It could be worse. You could have been like one of the children that was killed by this psychopath trans person. Oh, God. My cat just is on a tear this morning. What do you want? You want food? You have food. Fuck off. But yeah, that's the central story for this week. Obviously, if you haven't heard, there was another trans terrorist who, attacked people. Another trans terrorist who attacked a school, as a matter of fact. This time, or not a school, was it? Whatever. I think it was both a school and then an actual parish. Anyway, we'll get into it. But they, they went in there with an AR-15. He went in there with an AR-15. Yeah, I'm sorry, but like, no reverence for murderers. I don't care if you were trans. I'm going to dead name you and use your at birth pronouns. I genuinely don't care who gets butthurt about that. But yeah, this one also isn't like he posted his manifesto on YouTube. Now YouTube deleted the account, and all the videos on the account. But luckily, people. Yes, they are imperious. Good morning, by the way. But yeah, these people are sick. 100% they are. Fuck off, cat. But like I said, this person posted their manifesto on YouTube, and luckily people were able to pull the video, and that's why the cold open was just a minute 20 of the tranny flipping through the notebook in which they wrote their manifesto. I agree. Totally demonic. And just one thing I just wanted to point out again, or not again, but one thing I wanted to point out. Of course, rainbow unicorn. It's a big rainbows and unicorns, My Little Pony, and all that shit. Very, very trans-coded stuff. Look at all this. This is the thing I wanted to point out. Luigi. Now, Luigi, not only being the name of Luigi Mangione, but also the sort of meme that represents Luigi Mangione is literally Luigi Mario's brother. A lot of lefties at protests are wearing Luigi hats now, green hats with the white dot, with the white circle with the green L in it. And they do it to represent Luigi Mangione. And look at what this cunt has in his little notebook here, his little journal. A bunch of Luigi stickers. It's clear who inspired him to do this. Like he's laying it out for all to see. He was inspired to do this by Luigi Mangione doing it. I mean, that's the. I can't imagine any other reason why you'd have a bunch of. I mean, it's possible he was just like, I really like Luigi. I sympathize with the second son. But no, I think it's obvious. And then Gear Up in the middle, the green, mushroom with says Gear Up underneath it. But yeah, this popped out to me immediately when I watched this video was all the Luigi stickers. It's 100% clear. Thank you, Imperius. I appreciate that. I'm sure I'm not the first person to notice that, to pick up on it, but it's very clear that this was inspired by Luigi Mangione, and you're going to see more of this. You're going to see like it's where Luigi Mangione has been treated like such a hero on the left. You're going to continue to see more acts of violent terrorism. And these people, they know they're going to either get shot and get killed in the middle of the event, or that they're going to end up in prison. But they don't care. What they want is the fame. They want to be treated as heroes the same way that Luigi Mangione is. Yeah, we're not going to watch all 20 minutes of him flipping through his manifesto, but he wrote a lot, and some of it was written in Cyrillic. It seems like he was a bit of a Rusaboo, a Slavaboo. Whatever you would say about a person who seems to be a big fan of Eastern Europe.
Shit.
You also hear him, whispering to himself throughout the entire video. He's just like, I just hear you heard him say shit. Like, I don't know what he's saying to himself. You can barely understand him.
Shit. Stupid ass bitch. You corny mo. I'm dead.
Yeah, he had a couple things to say. He's got a lot of blank pages. There's other. Yeah.
Ooh, you stupid ass bitch. You corny motherfucker.
Like it's like, look at this. This is also is like a self-report almost. Look at this. Here is a drawing that's clearly supposed to be him, because there it's got the curly hair. This guy has curly hair. He's got the AR-15 strapped to his back, which is the type of weapon that he used. And look what he's doing. He's looking into a mirror and he sees a demon. Keep in mind, I'm not a Christian. I was raised Christian and I'm baptized, but like I left the church a long time ago. I left the church when I was a teenager. But even I could see that this is clearly demonic. Like this person saw themselves as a demon. So it's not even like this person saw themselves as a hero. They know what they are. They know that they're evil. And they're content in being evil. I don't know what these Cyrillic letters say. I'm not sure because I can't read Cyrillic. But yeah, literally looking at himself in the mirror and seeing a demon.
Bitch, you corny motherfucker.
There's one other thing here I wanted to show near the end of the video. I just gotta remember what it is.
Haha, nice.
Oh yeah, that's right. He has the layout of the church. So I, like many, obviously don't think it's not a gun problem. This is a mental illness problem. But you know, uh, being trans and having extreme mental illness, they seem to go hand in hand. You know. But yeah, shooting at Minneapolis Catholic Church leaves 2 children dead and 17 injured. Minneapolis police say gunman started firing a rifle through church windows during a mass. So yeah, Minneapolis authorities said at least 2 children are dead and more than a dozen were injured Wednesday after a shooter opened fire at a mass at the Annunciation Catholic School in Minnesota. The attacker was identified by law enforcement sources to Fox News as a person who may have used 2 names, Robin Westman and Robert Westman. Police described the gunman as in his early 20s, dressed in black clothing, targeting the mass which marked the first week of classes for children attending the school, according to Police Chief Brian O'Hara. So yeah, I was right. It is both a Catholic school, but it's also a parish. So it's both. During the mass, a gunman approached on the outside of the on the outside on the side of the building and began firing a rifle through the church windows towards children sitting in the pews at the mass. So it targeted the kids specifically. Shooting through the windows, he struck children and worshippers that were inside the building, O'Hara said. The shooter was armed with a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol. This was a deliberate act of violence against innocent children and other people worshiping. The sheer cruelty and cowardice of firing into a church full of children is absolutely incomprehensible. Quote, two young children ages 8 and 10 were killed where they sat in the pews. Their parents have been notified. 17 other people were injured, 14 of them being children, O'Hara added, noting that the coward who fired these shots ultimately took his own life in the rear of the church. Yeah, that was always the goal. Live fast and die young. Mayor Jacob Frey, or Frey, I guess that would be Frey. Mayor Jacob Frey said there are no words that can capture the horror and evil of this unspeakable act. We are a Minneapolis family, but to everybody out there, do not think of these as just somebody else's kids. Those families are suffering immense pain right now. Think of this as if it were your own. Every one of us needs to be wrapping our arms around these families, giving them every ounce that we can muster. The Minneapolis Police Department shared a message from the city of Minneapolis confirming, quote, there is no active threat to the community at this time, and the shooter is contained. The law enforcement source told Fox News that the shooter, who has not been publicly identified at the time of the report, is deceased. So yeah, we do know now who the shooter was. Minnesota Governor Tampon Tim Walz said, I added the tampon part. I've been briefed on the shooting at Annunciation Catholic School, and I'm praying for our kids and teachers whose first week of school was marred by the horrific act of violence. Hennepin Healthcare wrote on X that it is caring for people injured in the shooting, while Children's Minnesota Hospital said 6 children are being treated. So yeah, it seems like the community pretty quickly, rallied around, this whole thing, and people are getting taken care of. Footage taken at the scene on Wednesday showed parents leading their children away from the school. Residents who live in the area said they heard so much gunfire they didn't initially call police, thinking it was someone roofing their house, according to 9/11. 9/11, Jesus Christ. According to Fox 9. What the fuck? Where did I get Jesus? Man, wow. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said DHS is monitoring the horrific situation at Annunciation Catholic School in Minneapolis. Quote, we are in communication with our interagency partners and will share more information as soon as it becomes available. I'm praying for the victims of this heinous attack and their families, she continued. ATF agents, quote, are responding to reports of an active shooter in the situation at Annunciation Church in Minneapolis. I keep saying Minneapolis. I'm silly. Minneapolis. President Donald Trump said he has been fully briefed on the tragic shooting in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The FBI quickly responded, and they are on the scene. The White House will continue to monitor this terrible situation. Please join me in praying for everyone involved, Trump said on Truth Social. Yep, pretty shocking, pretty bad stuff. Not the type of stuff you would want to see happening, in an American city. But I mean, it's like these people are mentally ill. I mean, it is what it is. Even the most rational and non-violent of them, it's still at its core a mental illness. It's still a disconnection between the body and the mind, which can easily spiral out. Now, most trans people aren't going to murder anybody, so let's just take that off the table right away. I know plenty of trans people who are perfectly nice, reasonable people. You're not in any danger of being harmed by them. But it is at its core a mental illness, and this mental illness one mental illness will it can easily be exacerbated and usually goes hand in hand with other mental illnesses. And the whole thing can just kind of spiral out. But yeah, this is the shooter. The shooter is a 22-year-old biological male transgender who posted a manifesto on YouTube. Out of respect for the investigation victims, I'm withholding those specifics at the time, but I have it archived. Bullets. This is Robert. I can't remember the last name. Robert Westman, I think it was. Robin Westman is his tranny name. Suspect whose identity is known posted a video at the time of the shooting, allegedly recorded a day prior, preparing his weapons, writing on the magazine said, "For the children and kill Donald Trump." Rip and tear. Because, of course, he's also a gamer because he's a Zoomer. So, and he likes Doom and Luigi and, whatever. Kill Donald Trump. Yes, because Donald Trump, the most openly pro-gay president in history, is an existential threat to trans people. For the children on a magazine that goes into the AR. Alleged suspect recorded a lengthy video laying out weapons and what possibly is a drawing of the shooting location where he stabbed it with a knife, saying, "Where I kill myself." Yeah, that was always the plan. Go down and take as many people with him as he goes. Yep, there's the shotgun, there's the AR, there's the pistol, got a revolver over here too. What does that say? Suck on this, where is your God? Fuck everything you stand for. The big one. It's a big magazine. A fart nigga? Jesus Christ. I've seen a lot. Rob O'Donnell. He's the guy posting a lot of this stuff. I've seen a lot in my 3 decades of public safety and working for one of the largest police departments in the world. After watching this alleged suspect's videos, I can clearly state this was one deranged, psychotic individual. No shit. Yep. Where I kill myself, and he just trails off. The written manifesto is 4 pages exclusively apologizing to his family and saying it's okay to change their names after this, blames vaping for giving him cancer, and continues with a dialogue of depression, sadness, stating this is what he always wanted. Since the coward's information is now out by authorities, he is identified as Robert Westman, who legally changed his name via a court order to Robin Westman, sponsored by his mother, as he was a juvenile in 2020. Here is one of the letters posted by the shooter prior to the event. To my family and friends, I don't expect forgiveness and I don't expect any apology. I have to hold much weight, but to my family and those close to me, I do apologize for the effects my actions will have on your lives. Please know I care for you all so much, and it pains me to bring this storm of chaos into your lives. This will affect so many more people than the ones that are immediately involved. To my mother and father, I'm sorry it didn't turn out as you had hoped. You did not fail me. You gave me so much. I truly appreciate the love you have given me. I feel I was raised to be a good person. I've kept those traits of empathy, self-sacrifice, and good character. Please, I don't believe that. Please do not think you have failed as parents. I was corrupted by this world and have learned to hate what life is. Life is love. Life is pain. There is too much to accept, too many things to put up with, just to live. I'm tired of the pain this world gives out. Please move on and continue to give your love to my brothers and sisters and the rest of the world. They may not forgive you, but you need to move on from me. Forget my life and the pain I've brought. I love you both. Thank you for everything. I'm sorry. So, like, this person is so whacked in the head that they consider themselves a good person, even though they know they're going to go murder innocent children at a Catholic church. To my siblings, I'm sorry for forever tainting the rest of your lives, your careers. See, this he knows the damage he's going to cause to his own family, let alone all the damage he's going to cause to all the families that he's going to harm, and he does it anyway. He does it anyway. All will be turned upside down. Please hold on to who you are, not who I am. Change your names if you must. I wish I could tell you that before I go. Please know that. I love you all and truly appreciate the time I've spent with you. I have such an amazing family, and it hurts me to throw this wrench into the works of you good people. I feel hope when with you. I cherish our time together. I appreciate all that you have taught me, and I felt inspired to be like you when I grew up. I hope you're able to move on and continue your lives without being forever followed, forever haunted by my actions. Yeah, they will be forever haunted by your actions. You're their brother. You killed a bunch of children, then you killed yourself. Like, yes, they will be haunted by this. Forget me and all that I am. Hold on to yourselves and your loved ones. I love you all. To my friends, I trust you all. Give your memory of me. I trust you all to give your memory of me however you see fit. I'm sorry for the confusion and heartbreak this will bring. I truly appreciate all of you for showing me a good life and helping me through dark times. Clearly, the dark times never ended for this one. I've had so many good times that gave me hope. Unfortunately, this world has too much pain to deal out that I can't cover up with the good side of life. I hope you all can move on and forget the pain I've caused. Like, the world is full of too much pain. He says this over and over again, but he was content to deal out pain to other people, to innocent people. I have wanted this for a long time. I'm not well. I'm not right. I'm a sad person haunted by these thoughts that do not go away. I know this is wrong, but I can't seem to stop myself. I'm severely depressed and have been suicidal for years. Too bad he couldn't contain it and just, do himself. Only recently have I lost all hope and decided to perform my final action against this world. I don't want to kneel down for the injustices of this world. I want to die. I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees constantly in pain. I think I'm dying of cancer. It's a tragic end as it's entirely self inflicted. I did this to myself as I cannot control myself and have been destroying my body through vaping and other means. I think I have lung cancer. I have felt many pains that make me think I am past the point of recovery. So, yeah, he never got diagnosed, by the way, I'm sure. So, I do not want to recover. Or I'm past the point of recovery. I do not want to recover. I do not want to throw my life away by rotting in a hospital bed. I don't want the rest of my life to be as a cancer patient in and out of hospitals, constantly being fettered about with people afraid to be too happy around me. Fuck that. I want to go out on my own means. Unfortunately, due to my depression, anger, and twisted mind, I want to fulfill a final act that has been in the back of my head for years. You are all what kept me going. I find no more interest in anything material. I have only an interest in my mission and love for my family. If you really loved your family, you wouldn't have done this. If I didn't have such an amazing group of people around me, I would have been gone much sooner. I just want to escape from this world, escape from the constant bills, shitty jobs, shitty people, and injustice of America. Like he's barely apparently doesn't have money for bills, but he's got money for guns. I'm done with this. I will not bow. I will not be selfish and leave you to pick up the pieces. It's my fault. Blame me, but please move on. But you were selfish and you did leave them to pick up the pieces. Whether you accept my apologies or not, I hope you all can move past this and continue your lives. Remember to be good people. Now more than ever, the world needs more love, even if you don't get it in return. Please find hope, find love, and stand up to injustice. I love you all. I will remember you. No, you won't. You're dead. Pray for the victims and their families. You don't want prayers for the victims and their families. If you wanted prayers, you wouldn't have killed them. I love you, Mom, Dad, Jack, Martha, Teresa, Joe, Jared, Phil, and Liam. Robert M. Weston says Robin, but Robert. I'm calling him Robert because his name is Robert. T must be Teresa because it's the only one that starts with a T. P.S. T, get over yourself and make up with mom. She loves you. You need to grow up and accept that time just keeps on fucking moving. You either will stay in the past and rot, wasting your life and happiness away, or you can grow up and move on from things. We all love you. P.P.S. I wouldn't recommend any of you read my journals unless you really want, unless you really want to, but be warned. Yeah. Sick shit. Sick shit. And again, he knew this was wrong and he did it anyway. Truly evil. I don't believe in demons, but this is the type of stuff that would make me think that maybe there's something demonic at work here. For a person to know that they're committing a horrible act of evil and then to just do it anyway. But his mom was connected to the church that he shot up, which is probably why he chose it as a target. Yeah, the mom of Minneapolis mass shooter Robert. I'm sorry. It's I read automatically and I just don't think about it. Robert Westman worked at Catholic school where he opened fire, killing 2 kids. Police said. The mother of lone transgender gunman who killed 2 students and injured 17 others at Annunciation Church and Catholic school on Wednesday morning was an employee at the school. Police said. While the motives of Robert Westman, 23, remain unclear, police identified the suspect's mother as Mary Grace Westman, who spent 5 years working as a secretary at the Annunciation School in Minneapolis until she retired in 2021, according to a Facebook post and a blog on the church's website. I'd say it's possible that he could have very well went to the Catholic school when he was a kid. If she's Catholic, then it's probably the whole family's Catholic, and he probably went to the Catholic school and maybe felt some type of way about Christianity. Um, Clearly, he decided to target Christians. Like, there's some people out there because I think he wrote like "fuck Zionists" or "kill Zionists" or "fuck Israel" or something like that on one of his guns. That this was like motivated by anti-Semitism. I'd say he did it for the meme. Like, he's probably a shit lib. And as a shit lib, he probably hated Israel and probably didn't really like Jews too much. But I don't think that like Jew hatred is what drove him to do this. Mental illness and just a hatred for everything American and Christian, and yes, because most Americans are Jew friendly and pro Israel. He decided to just like the guns were just covered in memes, so I don't think you can really read too much into it. Quote, she has provided such wonderful hospitality, friendship, and companionship to all who gathered for the last 5 years at Annunciation. You will be missed. Congratulations on your retirement, the church wrote. Robert L. Helleringer, Mary Grace's brother and a former Republican representative in the Kentucky General Assembly, described their family's strictly Catholic upbringing in multiple op-eds published in the 2010s. Their mother would, I guess she's from Kentucky. That's cool. Their mother would often host dinners with local priests and routinely led prayers together before departing. Helleringer wrote in the Louisville Courier-Journal, noting how their lives were enriched by their company. Helleringer also served at the church their family belonged to growing up in Kentucky, according to the articles. After graduating from a Catholic high school, Helleringer attended Xavier University, a Catholic Jesuit school, where he started to grapple with his faith once his mother cut him loose. He still found his way back to his faith thanks to his mother's gentle stewardship and support at Xavier. I was cast adrift, spiritually speaking. I found my own way, the truth, and the light. he wrote in the Courier Journal. In 1980, shortly after graduating Xavier, he landed a seat in Kentucky General Assembly that he held until the districts were redrawn in 2002. Helleringer reflected extensively on the child sexual abuse scandals that rocked the Catholic diocese across the country at the time, including some at Louisville parishes. Perhaps our collective shame is the price that must be paid for the unspeakable evil that has taken place on consecrated ground, he wrote. In 2023, 3 years after Westman legally changed his name from Robert to Robin, Hellringer condemned conservative Republicans' vendetta against the LGBTQ plus community and their identities that he asserted were nobody's public business. Yeah, so he's like he's that sort of cucked Catholic, you know. Uh, This is quote, this is a contradictory look for pro-life Republican legislators who believe that all human life, born or preborn, is sacred. One cannot simultaneously defend innocent life and demean the lives of our equally innocent gay sisters and brothers as nothing more than printed names on a birth certificate, he wrote in the Courier Journal. So yeah, he seems pretty cocked. Now, as I've said before, I know plenty of trans people, perfectly fine people, and if you're a reasonable person, I'm willing to engage with you. So, like, I don't dead name nice people. I don't dead name polite people. Uh, you know, I I don't walk around and just mock people for the sake of it. Um, but there's a level of I don't think it's antithetical to the pro-life movement to be anti-trans. You know what I mean? I think that's a stupid kind of connection to make. However, Hellringer's stance doesn't appear to be due to his relationship with Westman, as the two barely knew each other since the families have always lived in lived several states away. He told the Associated Press the heartbroken attorney added that he wished Westman had shot me instead of innocent school children. The Post reached out to Hellringer for comment. Westman, who died at the scene of a self-inflicted gunshot wound, was not previously known to law enforcement. Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara told reporters at the press conference. The deranged gunman posted disturbing videos that included showing pages of his sick handwritten manifesto on his sensitively YouTube and had killed Donald Trump and for the children scrawled on gun magazines. Much of the twisted messages were written in code that used Cyrillic characters and English phonetic words that was translated by the Post. The Westmans lived less than a mile from Annunciation in a small Tudor-style home set on a quiet tree-lined street. So not only did he have a two-parent household, but he also grew up in a middle-class life. The kid probably wanted for nothing and still turned into a monster. Neighbor Stephen Jagowski told the Post it was jaw-dropping to learn the horror that Robert inflicted on Wednesday. Jaglowski, 35, recalled encountering the Westmans 2 years ago while they were celebrating what seemed to be graduation. They flagged me down as I was on my way to my apartment and asked me to take a couple group photos, said Jaglowski. I think I've pronounced that name 3 different ways. Every time I've said it, I've pronounced it a different way. They seemed like a great family. There were kids running around, parents drinking, music playing. Their little chihuahua nipped me in the ankle. They gave me a beer and I went on my way. I guess you never know who somebody is, he said. But yeah, he has a connection to the school. His mom worked there. He probably went there himself, especially if he lived a mile away. And, you know, we don't know that for certain yet. I'm just speculating here, but he probably was a student there, especially if he was raised Catholic. And like I said, he lived a mile away from the place. So, but yeah, moving on to other acts of trans terrorism. Y'all remember this uncanny valley looking ass motherfucker from a few months ago? This is one of the this is one of the Antifa people who attacked ICE. Portland Antifa knife attack suspect rearrested after breaking release terms. Julie Winters, a trans Antifa activist charged in a knife attack on federal agents, was rearrested after returning to the area near the ICE facility. A federal judge denied him release a second time. Good. He shouldn't have been released the first time, in my opinion. I'm sorry, this person's face just freaks me out to look at. Like, what the fuck? Where is his ear? Like there's something uncanny about this guy's face. It's just it's like it upsets me to look at it. Well, this motherfucker's older than me. He's 46. Damn. But yeah, this happened in Portland. A violent Portland leftist activist your standard Portland resident apparently. A violent Portland leftist activist who was federally charged in June over a knife attack on federal agents has been rearrested and held in jail after violating release conditions. Julie Michaela Winters, formerly known as Christopher Hudson, okay, who I will do my best to refer to as Christopher Hudson for the remainder of this reading, was arrested June 24th during an Antifa riot outside the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement building in Southwest Portland. Video shows Hudson brandishing a long-bladed weapon at DHS agents guarding the facility before hurling it as a projectile towards one of them.
Side, they're coming! Damn, bitch! You're overweight as fuck! What you gonna tase him for? What the fuck you gonna tase him for? Oh my god! Are you fucking serious? Oh my god! 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 Holy fuck!
Everybody there that night should have been tased.
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
All these people should have been tased and pepper sprayed and just brutalized. I don't care. Fuck them.
This person is unconscious! This person is unconscious! Holy fuck! That person is unconscious! This person is fucking knocked out! What the fuck?
Good. They should be knocked out.
What the fuck did he do to them? Don't you dare in here, motherfuckers! You fucking monsters!
Because you deserve to be shot in the head. For the record, these are those like paintball guns that fire those pepper, that fire those like pepper ball thingies. It's like instead of a paintball full of paint, it's full of like pepper spray or like mace, and it you shoot someone in the chest or whatever, and it blows up and spreads mace all over them. It's pretty effective anti-riot weapon. Yeah, I didn't see in this video that I saw. I didn't see these ICE agents do anything that I would consider overly brutal. I mean, there are people coming at them with knives and machetes. If it was anything like what we saw in Los Angeles, probably getting bricks and shit thrown at them. So I think that the cops showed restraint. I mean, I don't think that ICE agents or American police get the credit for truly the amount of restraint they show in these situations. You know what I mean? Like, it is kind of funny that, like, Billy Badass shithead cops will, like, violently drag people out of their cars at traffic stops for asking questions. But then, like, put in a situation where they're in a riot, they are able to show the restraint but granted, these are different cops. There's a difference in context. There's these small town cops who know that they can, be extra like handsy with locals because the locals won't sue, and if they do, they probably would lose or they'll be protected. Whereas, these ICE agents or police in major cities run by Democrats, will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law if they overstep. So, but still, there is a level of restraint that these guys have. Jesus, all those people screaming in my face like that, I would have just been pepper balls, just pat, 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 just spraying them all. Or just pull out the big can of bear mace and just spray them all in the face. Hudson pleaded not guilty to felony attempted assault of a federal officer with a deadly weapon and was held for 2 weeks before being released July 8th by Judge Yuli Yim. Yuli Yim Yu. To the Jesus, that is the that is the name, Judge Yuli Yim Yu. To the release. I'm sorry. Let me read the sentence again because the sentence is kind of confusing with this judge's name. And was held for 2 weeks before being released July 8th by Judge Yuli Yim Yu to the Northwest Regional Reentry Center, a halfway house-style facility. Prosecutors said Winters violated release conditions last week by returning to the ICE facility area. Returned to the scene of the crime, yeah. At a hearing Monday in the Mark O. Hatfield U.S. Courthouse in downtown, Judge Yim Yu considered arguments from prosecutors and the defense about whether Winters should be released again. Loud, violent outbursts from Winters disrupted the proceeding because, of course, it's like God. It's like that's like the stories that we heard about Chris Chan when he was in court over the stuff with Barb, about how he kept like outbursting and stomping his feet, and being like just loud and disruptive. Quote, "I don't want this man anywhere near me," Hudson shouted, referring to his public defender, Michael Benson, as U.S. Marshals brought him into court. Federal prosecutor Louis Burkhart told the judge that Hudson was violent when rearrested August 20th. He said it took 5 marshals to restrain him, and at least 1 marshal was allegedly assaulted by Hudson during the apprehension. I mean, how big is this guy? I'm curious, how big is this Hudson fellow? Because I don't have a clear indication of just how big this person is. God, his face horrifies me to look at. Jesus Christ. Like I said, where the fuck is his ear? His right ear is just gone. He just doesn't have a right ear, and I don't know, it just freaks me out. After Winters grew agitated towards his attorney, U.S. Marshals cleared the courtroom to restore order. When the session resumed, Winters was represented by another lawyer, Benjamin Anderson, who admitted Winters had violated release terms but asked that he be allowed to return to his apartment near the ICE building. Additionally, Anderson argued against Hudson returning to the mental facility on unsubstantiated claims that he contracted HPV, a sexually transmitted disease, and was forced to be housed in a communal area with a bunch of men despite identifying as a non-binary woman. How can you be non-binary and a woman at the same time? If you're non-binary, that implies that you are neither. You can't have it both ways. These people are fucking just sick, just mentally sick people. Burkhart also told the court his office had been alerted by a tipster about threatening social media posts by Winters after his release. Winters, Hudson, I keep jumping back and forth. Then began shouting journalist Andy No's name, accusing him of being the source of the tip. No has not contacted prosecutors about Winters. Judge Yu Yim ultimately sided with prosecutors and ordered Winters be held without release, citing serious violations of pretrial release conditions. Also, this person is clearly just a psycho. Oh, Jesus, the person is only 5'4" and 200 pounds. Okay, so not huge, but only 5'4". That's insane. 5'4". What a manlet. What an absolute manlet. During the June 24th riot, Hudson attempted to flee on foot but was tased and taken into custody. Antifa-linked accounts at the time falsely claimed he died in custody. Because, of course, that's all Antifa knows how to do is fucking lie. Hudson, originally from New Jersey, previously performed as a DJ under the name Sense One. After moving to Portland and transitioning, he underwent multiple cosmetic surgeries. Oregon taxpayers cover Oregon taxpayers cover expensive transgender medical procedures for low-income people in the state. His attorney told the court he is unemployed. Of course he is. Of course he is. Because these types of mentally ill people, they can't hold down jobs. Most of the homeless are mentally ill. And one of the reasons why they're homeless is because they can't hold down jobs because they're so fucking mentally ill. Criminal allegations of violence is not new to Winters. The 200-pound man has a separate open Multnomah. Is that how you say that? A separate open Multnomah County felony assault on an officer case stemming from an incident in December 2024. This Hudson guy just can't keep it in his pants. He really likes beating up cops. Yep. Assaulting a public safety officer, escape in the third degree, and harassment. So, yep. This person has a long and storied history of being a violent psycho when it comes to dealing with cops. As far as I'm concerned, he got what he fucking deserved. He should stay in prison for as long as is necessary for the crimes he's committed. And when he gets out of prison, I don't know, he'll probably reoffend. So, yeah, it's sad stuff. But no, like I said, that's why I called the episode Transterrorism, because it's, at this point, it's becoming a recognizable pattern. There has been a lot of trans shooters recently, trans rioters, just trans people doing really crazy stuff, and whatever. Like, you need to, like, and one of the problems that I think and I've said this about the gay community too. Liar and I have had this. This is a common criticism that we have about the gays, is that the community itself doesn't do enough self-policing of the more pedophilic aspects of the thing of the community, and they don't do, not only they do not do enough self-policing, but they're not publicly against it enough. There's like the LGBT Alliance, who's like anti-transing the kids, and anti-child endangerment and all this stuff, and good for them. Like, I appreciate some, but it's almost too little too late, because for too many decades they rallied around each other, and they protected each other. They protected the worst elements of their community because they felt like they needed to be solid in solidarity with each other. And I think the trans people there needs to be more, like, you guys can't all just rely solely on like Blair White and the small handful of other like reasonable trans people to call this stuff out. Like, the community as a whole needs to disavow this, or not as a whole, but like, the trans people need to speak up more about how these people are bad, they do bad things, they don't represent us, but they don't do that. They rally around each other. They circle the wagons. Anytime like white people do something horrible, I disavow it. I'm like, this person doesn't represent me. I disavow Nick Fuentes all the time, although Nick Fuentes isn't white, but you get my point. He passes. He's white passing. You get my point, though, that I disavow when white people do bad shit all the time. I disavow it. Well, hell, there's a white person right here I'm currently disavowing. So yeah, just there needs to be more. It would go a long way to kind of rehabilitate the image. Although at this point, I think it might be too late. It's probably too little, too late. Like, the pendulum is now swinging too far back, because you people, when the pendulum got to your side, you grabbed it and you threw it back at the other side so hard that now it's you did this to yourselves. Yeah. In other news, Rochester Attorney's Office makes charging decision against Shiloh Hendricks in the April video incident. So yeah, Shiloh Hendricks is being charged with a crime for dropping an N-bomb with a hard R on a kid who tried to steal her purse, or who was going through her purse or her diaper bag or whatever it was. The Rochester City's Attorney's Office moves to leverage 3 counts of disorderly conduct against Shiloh Hendricks, a woman who used racial slurs against a Somali child with a disability in a sent viral video in April. There's no proof that that kid was autistic or disabled in any way. Nobody's ever been able to substantiate that. It's just a thing that people claim with no fucking evidence. And if there is evidence out there, I haven't seen it, and I looked for it. The charges would amount to a maximum of 90 days in jail or a $1,000 fine. Good thing she made like $700,000 on GoFundMe. She's like, oh, here's your fine. Fuck off. The legal complaint is still subject to review and approval by the district court judge. Hopefully, that judge has the balls to say this is stupid. No, I may not like what she said, but this is the United States of America. She has the right to say it. But it concludes that, quote, Shiloh wrongfully, or I guess Hendricks, because it's in those, not parentheses, brackets. I can't remember what those are called. But Shiloh wrongfully and unlawfully engaged in offensive, obscene, abusive, boisterous, or noisy conduct, or in offensive, obscene, or abusive language that would reasonably tend to arouse alarm, anger, or resentment. So that's a crime. Just a white person is not allowed to drop the N-bomb with the hard R. We're not allowed to say nigger without it. That's against the law now. We can go to jail for saying that now. I mean, it was risky enough saying that whenever you never know who's around because they can like try to destroy your life over it, like through material means by like say, trying to get you fired from your job or whatever, or or if you say it around the wrong black person and they chimp out and brutally beat the shit out of you. This matter involved a large amount of evidence and required careful consideration of potential charge. I mean, what evidence? She doesn't even deny that she said it. In the video that went viral, she straight up just admits, like she doesn't even deny it. So what evidence? She confessed, Anyway, required careful consideration of potential charging options across multiple offices. Additionally, under Minnesota law, because of course it's Minnesota, prosecutors are required to involve and consider the perspective of the crime victim. Given the sensitive and complicated nature of this case, along with the high level of public attention, completing necessary reviews and conversations with the victim's family took longer than usual. The city attorney's office remains focused on the legal process and is committed to ensuring a fair process. While we will not speculate on the length of the court process or the potential outcome. This situation that deeply affected many people, especially our communities of color, and caused real turmoil in our communities, shared Mayor Kim Norton. We acknowledge the lasting impact this incident had. Oh, come on. Nobody was fucking, nobody got some people got their fucking feelings hurt. Come on. Not only to those directly involved and across our community, but also the broader conversation happening in the state and national levels. These moments remind us of the complexity and far-reaching impact of situations like this. The city remains committed to staying engaged and proceeding with transparency and care, continuing efforts to support accountability and progress in Rochester. So you're going to take a woman who engaged in free speech by yelling at a child who was trying to steal shit out of her kid's diaper bag while she was at the park, and then she was harassed by a fucking Somali migrant who himself, is facing sex trafficking charges, and she's the one who you think should be in jail. Nobody should be in jail for this. This is First Amendment protected free speech as far as I'm concerned, even if you don't like it. Dipshit commies say things all the time that I find morally reprehensible. And as much as I hate them, I never have ever, said they should be charged with crimes just for saying commie shit. Because there's a moral consistency to my worldview. Free speech is worthless if it doesn't defend speech you don't like. Simple as. Shiloh Hendricks does not deserve to spend a second in jail, and she shouldn't even have to pay the $1,000 fine. If she gets hit with the $1,000 fine, considering the money that she made on the GoFundMe, then fine, just pay it. Just fine, whatever. Here, I'll write you a check, or pay it in cash. Like literally, pay it with $1,001 bills. You know what I mean, or something like that. So make a meme out of it. But the whole thing's stupid. Hopefully, like I said, whatever judge's desk this slides across, hopefully hopefully whatever this judge, they look at it and go, no, this is stupid. I don't like what this person said. I don't like that Shiloh Hendricks said this, but we have the First Amendment in this country for a reason. But considering it's Minneapolis, or considering it's Minnesota, there's probably going to be some cucked Democrat judge who's going to try to throw the book at her for saying a naughty word. In more court-related news, one of the Cincinnati, you all remember the big Cincinnati fight? I covered it on the show a few weeks ago. The episode was called Cincinnati Savagery. Jermaine Matthews, one of the people who was beating the shit out of the white people, is not only is just a guy who likes to beat people up in public streets, but he's also a fentanyl dealer, allegedly. Cincinnati beatdown suspect indicted on federal drug conspiracy charges. Prosecutors say Jermaine Matthews conspired to distribute 40 plus grams of fentanyl, operated a drug trafficking premises. So he had a crack house. That's a fancy way of saying crack house. He had a crack house. God, I wish Liar was here. But he couldn't be here today because he is gay. He is gay. He's currently drinking with his IRL friends, which is fine. We don't make money off this. He's not required to be here. This is just a hobby that we do. A suspect described by prosecutors as the man who started the viral July 26 beatdown faces new legal trouble, this time with the federal government. Jermaine Matthews, 39, has been indicted on federal drug charges, the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Ohio announced on a Monday afternoon release. According to the quote, according to the superseding indictment, Matthews is responsible for conspiring to distribute and possess with intent to distribute 40 grams or more of fentanyl, said United States Attorney Dominic S. Gerasi, I would say, G-E-R-A-C-E, probably Gerasi. He's also charged with operating a premises on Kenton Street in Cincinnati for the purpose of trafficking narcotics. Like I said, it's a fancy way of saying crack house or trap house, whatever, Quote, Matthews, who was described as a primary coordinator of the July 6 brawl in downtown Cincinnati, was on bond after being charged locally with aggravated riot and assault. The release said he was arrested today by federal agents and Hamilton County Sheriff's Office RENU officials on the superseding indictment. 3 other Cincinnati men were charged as co-conspirators. Matthews was initially arrested and charged with aggravated riot and assault on July 30th. He posted $100,000 bond and was released from jail. I wonder where he got that money. Now, to be fair, a lot of times posting bail, you don't actually have to put up cash. It's just like you say that, like, if you violate the terms of your bail, that you then owe that amount of money. At least whenever I went to jail, when I got bailed out, that was basically what the bond was. It was like I didn't have to put any cash up front. Well, I didn't bail myself out, but the person that bailed me out, they didn't have to put down any cash up front. It was basically like, look, if he violates the terms of his bail while he's out on bail, then you now owe us. You're liable for. I can't even remember what my bond was because it was 20 years ago. But yeah, so it's possible that that's how he did it. He and 5 others were later charged with 3 counts of felonious assault, 3 counts of assault, and 2 counts of aggravated rioting for their alleged participation in the assault that occurred at around 3 a.m. outside Love, a nightclub in the downtown business district of Cincinnati. Upon his arraignment for the new charges on August 14th, Matthews' bond was kept at $100,000. His lawyer, Brandon Fox, declined to comment. He becomes the second of 8 people who have been arrested in connection with the beating to be charged federally. In both cases, the federal charges are unrelated to the alleged assault. The reason why I chose to read this story is it's a pattern of criminality from people who do this. If the type of person who would just start beating the shit out of a guy in the middle of the street, at a festival, is probably not a good guy and probably has some skeletons in his closet. In this case, he doesn't have skeletons in his closet. He has fentanyl in his closet. On August 13th, Montanez Merriweather, 34, was charged with illegally possessing a firearm as a previously convicted felon. The latest person charged in the indictment was one of the victims, 45-year-old Alex Chervinsky. He has been seen. He can be seen slapping one of the perpetrators in the viral video and has been charged with disorderly conduct. Yes, it's disorderly conduct to defend yourself from, an attempted beating. Chervinsky's lawyers, Douglas Bannon, said his client was allegedly hit in the head 28 times and robbed during the attack while trying to protect his girlfriend and another friend during the melee. Quote, what this has done, it has made Alex a victim now for the second time by bringing criminal charges against him, Bannon told Fox News Digital. What actually occurred is Alex was hit multiple times before he slapped back in an attempt to try and defend himself and back off this group of thugs. Now, there's also rumors going around that Chervinsky allegedly called one of the black dudes a nigger. It's possible that he did, but I mean, listen, if I'm just like out with my friends at this like Cincinnati festival, we're having a good time, and then like black dudes start like punching me in the face, I'm probably gonna drop an M-bomb or two, like just in anger. Well, probably not, but still, the point is that because that's just gonna escalate the situation, it's gonna make it worse. But still, here's the thing. That's alleged because people say that he did it, but again, I've not seen evidence that he did. I haven't seen like a video of him doing it. So, whatever. But yeah, no, this is Alex Chervinsky. This was what he looked like, a couple days after the beating, or the day after the beating. Exclusive photos obtained by Fox News show Alex Chervinsky's injuries from the viral beatdown in Cincinnati on July 26, 2025. Chervinsky, who is considered a victim in the case, has been charged with disorderly conduct for his alleged role in the fight. Yep. But yeah, we're talking about a lot of law stuff today, but we're into the good news now. The show's almost over. It's going to be a bit of a short one today, but Wisconsin judge will stand trial on charges of helping an illegal alien flee from ICE. I covered this story a few weeks ago on one of my solo videos. Well, these podcasts are becoming solo videos also, but one of my pre-recorded upload videos that I do on Monday and Friday. Even a far-left federal judge isn't buying Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan's claim she's immune from criminal prosecution, because she's not. Yeah, shout out to the Federalist, by the way. I like this website. Milwaukee County, Wisconsin and Minnesota. What's going on in the north of the country? Jesus Christ. Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan claims she's immune from being prosecuted over federal charges. She helped a violent illegal immigrant elude immigration and customs enforcement officers. But Dugan learned on Tuesday that no man or woman is higher than the law. No one is above the law, Dugan. That was the mantra of you people all during the Biden presidency whenever you were expecting Trump to go to prison. No one is above the law. Apparently, Dugan's alleged conduct was so egregious that even one of the more notoriously leftist federal judges in the country couldn't look the other way. U.S. District Court Judge Lynn Edelman agreed with the U.S. Magistrate's previous recommendation that Dugan's motion to dismiss the federal government's case be denied. Edelman scheduled an in-court hearing for next Wednesday in his Milwaukee courtroom to set up a timeline for trial. In his 27-page ruling filed with court precedents, Edelman noted two off-cited cases that neutralize Dugan's claims that judges are free to do whatever they please in their official acts up to committing crimes. Quote, no man in this country is so high that he is above the law. A judge no less than any other man is subject to the process of the criminal law. The ruling cited United States v. Hastings states. While judges do enjoy wide-ranging immunity from civil action stemming from doing their jobs, criminal activity in the commission of their duties is an entirely different matter. Quote, even judges cloaked with absolute civil immunity for centuries could be punished criminally for willfully deprivations of constitutional rights, Edelman wrote, quoting from a 1976 Supreme Court ruling. Dugan's dream team of expensive lawyers must be familiar with the rulings. Edelman chided them for arguing that the Milwaukee County judge, quote, enjoys absolute judicial immunity for the official acts alleged in the indictment. So, according to them, it is an official act of a judge to allow a violent, illegal alien to evade justice, aiding and abetting. It's okay for them. Like, you can't be sued as a judge for, if something happens, if you put a guy in jail, for a crime he committed and then he gets, essayed in jail, he can't sue you for putting him in that position, right? But there's a difference between that and then, and literally breaking the law on your own. And I've said this about cops, and I say this, I think this should apply to judges as well. If you are a judge, same thing with cops, but if you're a judge and you get convicted of a crime, the punishment should automatically be maximized and doubled because you are representative of the law, and if you violate the law, I think you deserve to be punished more harshly. So again, if the maximized and doubled. So if you commit a crime, like let's ballpark this, say aiding and abetting, let's say the maximum sentence you can get for aiding and abetting is, let's say, 5 years. I don't know what it is. Depends on the state, the jurisdiction, all these things. But let's just say, for ballpark it, let's say that like the maximum that you could get for it is 5 years in prison. If you're a judge and you do this and you're convicted, I think you should automatically get 10 years and you serve every day of the 10 years. You automatically get the maximum. So 5 years, and then it's doubled. So 10 years. If you're a cop and you get fined for doing something, like if you're a cop and you get a speeding ticket and the maximum you can get for a speeding ticket is like $250, then I think you should have to pay $5 or however much. You know what I mean? Like automatic maximum, you do the maximum doubled, period. It's like a 3.5 D&D spell. Meta magic, maximized, and I can't remember the one that doubles it, but what it's called. But yeah. Where was I? Dugan's attorneys also argue that a federal prosecution, quote, violates the 10th Amendment and the Constitution's vertical separation of powers by intruding on the authority of state judges to manage their own courtrooms and proceedings. Yeah, but you're not allowed to just flagrantly break the law in your courtroom. Your powers as a judge doesn't grant you that. Edelman informed the defendant that such arguments don't hold water, certainly not in the court's obligation to view the facts in the light most favorable to the government in motions to dismiss. A review of the relevant history reveals the government has the better of the argument, the ruling states. Dugan faces federal charges of felony obstruction and misdemeanor concealing an individual to prevent arrest. She is accused of aiding previously deported illegal immigrant Eduardo Flores Ruiz's brief escape from federal law enforcement officials in April when he was appearing in front of the county judge on battery charges. Dugan faces up to 6 years in prison and a $350,000 fine if found guilty. So yeah, okay, if she is found guilty, in my opinion, she should do 12 years and should have to pay $700,000 in fines. FBI agents arrested Dugan on April 25th at the courthouse, a week after the judge, according to the criminal complaint, misdirected federal agents, delaying them from apprehending Flores Ruiz. The illegal immigrant was set to appear before Dugan for a pretrial conference. Flores Ruiz is expected to be deported again after he serves a federal prison term for violating immigration law, Milwaukee's ABC affiliate WISN reported. On the day of Dugan's arrest, FBI Director Kash Patel posted on X a photo of the judge being taken into custody with the caption declaring "No one is above the law." That slogan was a favorite of the left as they relentlessly and unsuccessfully attempted to imprison and politically knock out President Donald Trump. Quote, we were disappointed by this decision. We look forward to the trial, which will show Judge Dugan did nothing wrong and simply treated this case like any other in front of her courtroom, Dugan's attorney said. So do you often let illegal migrants who are standing in front of you for battery cases try to, like, flee ICE? Is that something you commonly do, Dugan? The Wisconsin Supreme Court placed Dugan on administrative leave just days after she was charged. The judge continues to receive full pay and benefits, raking in nearly $50,000 over the run of her suspension from the bench, the Federalist reported on Tuesday. Edelman's ruling may come as a surprise to those who have followed the 85-year-old federal judge's long legal and political career. Edelman, a President Bill Clinton nominee, just happened to draw Dugan's case. As the Federalist has reported, the judge penned a 2020 piece attacking the conservative majority of the Supreme Court titled The Roberts Court's Assault on Democracy. The Judicial Council of the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals publicly admonished him for it. In his piece, Edelman played politics by accusing Trump of failing to, quote, enact policies beneficial to the general public, of behaving like an autocrat, and of failing to buck the wealthy individuals and corporations who control his party. Heritage Foundation constitutional law expert Zach Smith and Giancarlo Canaparo wrote in July 2020, quote, if all that weren't enough, Edelman, a judge for the Eastern District of Wisconsin since 1997, targeted Republicans for special criticism and went as far as to liken them to pro-slavery free fire eaters of the pre-Civil War South, the Heritage column noted. But even the leftist federal judge must acknowledge that federal prosecutors, at least thus far, have the better of the argument, which he did. Quote, when even a far-left judge like Lynn Edelman won't toss your case, you know you have seriously crossed the line, Rep. Tom Tiffany, Republican from Wisconsin, said Tuesday in a statement to the Federalist. Judge Hannah Dugan should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law and permanently barred from the bench. I agree with that. So, more good news. Ashley Babbitt's going to get her full military honors posthumously. She's going to be given her proper military funeral, which she was denied after she was killed in the Capitol. I'm not going to say murdered, because, look, I'm pro Ashley Babbitt. Like, I'm totally on her side, on the side of her family. She was wrongfully killed. It was totally wrong for her to do that. Or for her to die. The campus, the fucking Jesus Christ, I'm sorry, I'm brain fried right now. I keep wanting to say campus security, but the Capitol security who shot her shouldn't have shot her. She was unarmed, but she was kicking in a window. Like, she was kicking in a window trying to get into another section of the building. So she's one of the people who I totally feel bad for. I'm totally on the side of her and her family. Like, I've often said, only one person was killed that day. Her name was Ashley Babbitt. But she was doing something illegal when she got shot. She didn't deserve to be shot for it. Like, if that guy had a taser or had pepper spray, like, I think he probably should have just pepper sprayed her, but, or tasered her or something. But she was one of the people who was genuinely doing riotous stuff that day at the Capitol. Like I said, it's literally, I've seen the video of her getting shot more times than I can count. She's literally trying to kick in a window inside that separates one section of the Capitol building from another. She didn't deserve to be murdered for it. See, and I just said I wasn't going to call it a murder, but she didn't deserve to be killed for it. But, but still, she was denied a military funeral because of the circumstances of her death, but now that's being changed. She's going to be given a military funeral 5 years after she was killed, but, still. The U.S. Air Force will provide January 6th rioter Ashley Babbitt I'm not even going to argue with that, because she was rioting. She was literally smashing windows. So, she was doing riotous stuff. She was damaging public property. Will provide January 6th rioter Ashley Babbitt with a military funeral honors, reversing a Biden-era decision that denied her family's request, according to a legal group that has represented her family. Judicial Watch, the conservative legal group, on Wednesday made public a letter from the Undersecretary of the Air Force, Matthew Lohmeyer, extending an offer to allow the special funeral procedures to take place. Quote, I understand that the family's initial request was denied by Air Force leadership in a letter dated February 9th, 2021. Lohmeyer wrote in an August 15th letter shared by Judicial Watch, quote, however, after reviewing the circumstances of Ashley's death and considering the information that has come forward since then, I am persuaded that the previous determination was incorrect. He additionally extended an invitation to her mother and husband to meet him at the Pentagon so he may offer his condolences. The Hill requested comment from the Pentagon regarding the veracity of the letter. Babbitt, an Air Force veteran, was shot and killed by law enforcement during the January 6th Capitol riot as she attempted to climb through a barricaded door to the Speaker's lobby near the House chamber. Yeah. So a month after the riot in the Air Force, an Air Force representative under former President Biden's administration informed her family that military funeral honors were denied for her funeral due to the circumstances preceding her death. Quote, as a result, I've determined that military funeral honors would bring discredit upon the Air Force, Brian Kelly, an Air Force Lieutenant General, wrote in that letter. An eligible veterans honor guard detail consists of at least 2 members of the armed forces, one of whom is a representative of the Veterans Service Branch, according to the Department of Veterans Affairs. It also includes a ceremony including the playing of taps and the folding and presentation of an American flag to the next of kin. Quote, Ashley Babbitt's family is grateful to President Trump, Secretary Pete Hegseth, and Undersecretary Lohmeyer for reversing the Biden Defense Department's cruel decision to deny Ashley funeral honors as a distinguished veteran of the Air Force, Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton said in a statement. In May, the government agreed to pay Babbitt's family nearly $5 million as part of a settlement. It came as the Trump administration has sought to unravel the Biden administration's crackdown on those who participated in the riot. Trump pardoned nearly all rioters on the first day back in the White House and fired dozens of prosecutors who worked on criminal cases stemming from the attack. The Air Force could not be reached for comment. So, said, good for them. I remember I don't remember if I covered it actually, but I remember reading the story of Ashley Babbitt's family getting the settlement money because, again, she didn't deserve to die. She should have been pepper sprayed, or tased, or at worst batoned. You know what I'm saying? She didn't deserve to be killed for what she was doing, as bad as it was. She was one of the few people that day who was genuinely rioting, in my opinion. Not only that, but she was also the only person who died that day. Like there was 6 deaths connected with January 6th. Everyone who died, quote, connected to January 6th died like days later or a week later. And none of them were seriously injured. Like, one of them killed himself. Like, and it's people claim that, like, it's because of J6 that this guy killed him. It's stupid. Ashley Babbitt was the only person that died that day. It's just good to see her family get a little bit of justice. So, last thing, then we're gonna call it a day. We got some crime statistics from Trump. It's been about 2 weeks since Trump brought the National Guard in to clean up the streets of D.C. And, I'll just let Fox News say it.
Crime. Here's why Democrat cities are plagued by violence should consider getting on board. If you look here at Washington, D.C., at a 2-week period this year compared to last year, property crime is down 20%. But the biggest thing are all of the violent crimes, often including robbery, which is down 60%. Homicides are down 71% from last year over this exact same period of time. Assaults with a dangerous weapon, down 10%. Yet, if you listen to Democrats, they don't care about those statistics.
No, they don't, because it breaks their narrative. It breaks their narrative. This idea that, like, law enforcement does not reduce crime. This idea that, like, if you have laws on the books and cops to enforce them, it doesn't reduce crime. That's just not true. I mean, as it's demonstrable. Once, Trump called in the National Guard and had them patrol the streets, and they answered to him in this regard, they look what it's done to the crime statistics. Washington, D.C. is notably safer today than it was 2 weeks ago, specifically because a law enforcement body was put into place, in this case, the National Guard. They reinforced local law enforcement, and then the two parties worked together to clean up the streets, and look what happened. Look what happened. We can live in the same country that our grandparents and great-grandparents lived in. We can, and we can do it today. We can live in a safe, high-trust society. We just have to have the balls to get it done. So good on Trump. Good on, the whole thing. I think this is, like, Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this is like the first Clown War Chronicles I've done in a while where Trump news was not like the centerpiece, where the majority of the stuff I covered was like Trump related. So that's probably a good thing. That I'm able to, because it was even me, the guy who puts the show map together and decides what stories we're going to cover. It's like even I get like, man, do I really want to talk about Trump this whole episode again? Like, I love the guy, but Jesus Christ, even I get sick of myself sometimes. But no, everybody who showed up, got in the chat, thanks for stopping by. Imperious, thanks for stopping by. You and I, honestly, Imperious, I can't believe I'm saying this, considering how negative our first few interactions have been. But you and I might have to collab at some point. We might have to put something together. Because I'm starting to think that you and I actually have a lot more in common than our initial kind of like disagreements might let on. And yeah, but again, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. Be sure to like be sure to like the stream, and if you're watching the VOD, be sure to like it too, and be sure to sub. Just if you're not subbed, I got links down in the description, and follow me on X. You guys know the drill at this point. Do all the algorithm shit for me. Let's grow this community. I am gonna call it I was about to say call it an evening, but fuck me dead. It's not even an evening, so it's morning. It's still morning my time. So. But yeah, you guys have a good day, and I will see you Tuesday at the latest, or possibly Monday if you watch my little mini videos that I do.